Well, I hate to use the analogy, but it's like playing poker. If you don't have a good hand, fold early, right? But the worst thing you can do is stay in for a long time and then be the last loser, right? So that's a good analogy for qualifications. You got to figure out early on, good deal or not, and if it's not, right, nothing wrong, no dishonor in folding early, but not so good if you fold late. So the formula, which is pain times power times vision times value times collaboration times compelling reason to act. Those 6 variables they're just so critical to a sale, whether it's a very complex deal or a very short sales cycle. So that's what I like about the formula is this crazy world of selling that's got so many variables to it. To be able to look at a deal through those variables and that lens is a very important way to communicate with other people in the deal. But it's also a very good qualification mechanism, because at any point, if one of those 6 variables is not strong or not in place, or some are going to be stronger than others at points in the sales cycle. But I ought to be looking at those continually to say, is the deal moving in the direction where it needs to go? Are we uncovering the right information we need to feel good about this deal? Well, what I would say is they're not all going to be met at the beginning of a sales cycle, but there are things that ought to be developed over time. And I kind of have this maybe not even philosophy, but my experience shows that if you have pain, power, vision, value, and even a compelling reason to act, which sometimes is encompassed by those other ones, a deal's going to happen. It's going to happen. Now, is it going to happen with me or with my competitor? And that's where a lot of times the idea of collaboration comes into place. And so I might contend the selling organization that collaborates the best and helps mitigate risk and move someone through their decision-making process in a collaborative style, that's the one that's going to win the business. Right? It's almost a mathematical equation. One could argue 0 in any one of those variables means the deal. Now, we could argue, is it truly that black and white? But as a sales manager, right, I'm going to go use that as my continual basis for quick debriefs, right? So I'm going to ask, do you know what the pain is for this deal, right? Are we at power? Are we at the decision maker, right? Vision, right? Do they have a vision of how our capabilities can help solve their problem? Is it differentiated, right? Does it favor us? Have we established quantifiable value? Is there a compelling reason to act? Is there a time frame where they need to make a decision? And are we collaborating with the customer? Are we working with them to move them through their buying cycle? So the formula provides sales managers with very pointed questions to ask to assess the quality of the deal. Well, just that, most professions have processes in place, right? Architects, they follow a process. Chefs follow recipes. We certainly hope flight crews follow onboarding checklists, right? So everybody has checklists and formulas and guidelines. Too often in sales, sometimes it's considered an art, right? Not a science. And so there's not always those recipes and checklists. And so I think the successful sales formula serves as that recipe, as that checklist for sellers to quickly, ascertain, is it qualified? Is it moving forward? Is this a good deal? Well, that's a really good question, because I think BANT, right, budget, authority, need, time frame, are very important things to know in a sales cycle. But what's ironic about that is if, as a seller, early on I can tell you that the customer shared with me what their budget was, and they know who the decision maker is, and they know when they need to make the decision by, and know exactly what they need, they're pretty far down the road in their decision making. As a matter of fact, I might be late to the game. That might be a very qualified deal for someone else, right? And so by just looking at BANT as your sole qualification criteria, you actually could be engaging in a deal that's very unqualified for you. Again, important elements to know during the sales cycle, but not your sole qualification criteria.